So now we're going to move on to learning about word problems related to fractions. Over here we have 4 examples of word problems. 2 of them are solved and 2 of them we're going to solve together, and then we have a challenge. Let's start by going over the examples and then we'll move on to the challenge. The first word problem says that Omar had 5 balls. 2 of them were red and the rest were green. What fraction of Omar's balls were green? As we can see over here, the question is asking for it to be represented in fractions. The first step is to circle what the question is asking for. The question is asking for the fraction of green balls, not red, so we need to pay attention to that. So the easiest way to solve the word problems is by drawing. So we draw all of the balls, 5 balls. As we said, 2 of them were red, so I labeled R for red for the two balls, and the rest were green, so we labeled G for green. Then I had to represent this drawing in number form. As we said, we start with the fraction bar. Under the fraction bar, we have the denominator, which is the total number of parts. And on top of the fraction bar, we have the numerator, which is the number of shaded parts, or in this case, the number that the question is asking for. So the total number is 5. This is why I placed 5 in the bottom. And then, what's the number that the question is asking for? The question is asking for the green balls. So just 3 of them are green. This is why I placed 3 above the fraction bar in the numerator. How do I write this fraction in word form? I begin with the numerator. We write it as it is in word form, 3, and then I don't write the denominator as 5, I write fifths instead. So that makes it 3/5. Let's move on to the second word problem. Tia had a total of 7 marbles. She gave 3 marbles to her brother. What fractions of marbles does Tia have left? So again, I circled Tia in the question because the question is asking about Tia's marbles and not her brother's marbles. So we start by drawing. I drew 7 marbles. I labeled T for Tia and B for Tia's brother. So B stands for brother and T stands for Tia. Now I had to represent it in number form. As we said, in the denominator, I put the total number of parts. The total number of marbles is 7, which is why I put 7 in the place of the denominator. Now, in the numerator, I have to write the number of shaded parts, or the number that the question is asking for. Because the question asked only for Tia's parts, Tia has 4 balls out of the 7 left, so I put 4 in the numerator. In word forms, I start with the numerator as it is in words, 4, and the denominator, I write it as 7ths instead of 7. Now we're done with the first 2. This is why I placed a check next to them. Let's move on to the third problem. Aya's aunt baked 3 cakes for dessert. 2 of the cakes were chocolate cakes and 1 was carrot cake. What fraction of the cakes was chocolate? So let's start by drawing. I'm going to draw 3 cakes and I'm going to label them. 2 of the cakes were chocolate, CH for chocolate, and 1 was carrot, CA for carrot. Let's represent it in number form. Again, let's read the last part, which is the question. What fraction of the cakes was chocolate? So, they only want the fraction that is chocolates. We start with the number form. Of course, we begin with the fraction bar, which is the line in the middle. Under the fraction bar, I put the total number of parts, the total number of cakes in this case. 1, 2, 3, as stated here. So in the denominator, I write 3. Now, because the question is asking for chocolate cakes, I only choose the chocolate cakes for the numerator, the number of parts that the question is asking for. So it's 2, I write 2. This is how I represent my fraction in number form. Now, how do I convert it to word form? I write the numerator as it is, which is 2. And then I don't write 3 for the denominator, I say 2/3 instead. Now, we're done with the third word problem. Third example. Let's move on to the fourth example. Faris has 4 pets. 2 of the pets are dogs, 1 is a bird, and 1 is a cat. What fraction of Faris's pets is a cat? So the first thing we do is that we circle what the question is asking for, which is the fraction of cats. Now let's start by drawing. I draw the 4 pets and I label them. 2 of them are dogs, so 1 D and another 1 D. Dog, dog. Then 1 is a bird, so that would be a B. B for bird. And the last one is a cat. 1 is a cat, so C. Let's represent it in number form. I start with the fraction bar. Below the fraction bar, I put the total number of pets in this case. I have 4 pets in total, so I put 4. In the numerator, above the fraction bar, I put what the question is asking for. The question is asking for the fraction of pets. What fraction of Faris's pets is a cat? So how many cats do I have? Only 1. How do we represent this and convert it to word form? I begin with the numerator as it is, 1, and the denominator, instead of saying 1/4, I say 1/4, or the 4th has 2 names. It's very special. We can also name it 1/4. Now, we're done with all 4 examples. I hope. So now we're going to move on to the challenge. Let's read it together. Miss Reem had 12 marbles. 1/3 of the marbles was yellow. How many yellow marbles did Miss Reem have? Now, as we can see in this problem, the fraction, which is 1/3, is in the problem itself and not in the question. The question is asking for an answer in numbers and not in fractions. So, let's start by drawing the 12 marbles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, as we can see in the problem, it stated that 1/3 of the marbles was yellow. What does that mean? It means that I have to group my marbles into 3, each 3 together in a group, and out of the 3, I choose only 1 of the marbles to be yellow. So let's start. Because the question is saying 1/3, so 1 out of every 3. 1, I group them into 3, and now from every 3, I'm going to choose 1 as yellow. So this is yellow, this is yellow, this is yellow, and this is yellow. Why for yellow? So how many yellow marbles did Miss Reem have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Miss Reem had 4 yellow marbles. We're done about learning how to solve word problems related to fractions. Now, please watch the next video to learn about the second concept of fractions. for this week. Thank you.